This is the secret sauce behind my transformation, both career and fitness. And this was inspired by an interview I saw of Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian. His coach in an interview described a 6 year Excel tracking sheet that they used daily to track progress. And the result was 23 gold medals. Now, we might not get gold medals, but I challenge you to use this sheet daily for the next 6 years. That's exactly the challenge I gave myself. Now, it's very easy to use. You just have to input three things. The first is your number of sets of exercise. The second is the numbers of focus hours you did for the day. And this can be your work, but only if you're actually focusing. If you're taking breaks, it doesn't count. And it can be also the time you're focusing outside of work on personal study or focus tasks or whatever, but productive hours. And then the third is the numbers of minutes read. Now, these are the three keystone habits, and that's what we track. And for exercise, I know I'm saying number of sets, but if you're doing cardio, what I do is each 5 minutes, I convert it to 2 sets. That way I don't need two tables, and that's how I do it. So you set your own goals, but when you start your day, you update the numbers from yesterday. Now, what are keystone habits? They are consistent behaviors that trigger a cascade of other positive results automatically in productivity, health, and personal growth. Now, the first one's exercise because basically it allows you to enter flow state much easier. That's because it raises your baseline dopamine, and dopamine is a precursor to focus. So I focus on that one first, and that helps with the next one, the focus hours. So basically, exercise allows you to enter flow state easier. So it is our number one keystone habit. It makes everything else better. Then second, the focus hours, the actual time you spent in deep flow state is the most critical activity for productivity. So we track that one next. And then third, we track number of minutes read because we should all be reading. And if you track it, you'll find that you'll end up making time for it. Maybe after you enter a bunch of zeros for a while and then eventually you get to it, but at least you don't forget about it. Okay, so let's see how this works. Okay, so over here there are three tables, 1, 2, and 3. The first table tracks the number of sets, the second table tracks the number of hours of exercise, and the third table tracks the numbers of minutes read. Now, the way this works is a week starts on a Sunday and ends on a Saturday. So this is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it works like that for every table. And at the top, you can see January, February, March, April, and so on. So it's all put together, so you get one nice view. And when you zoom out, you can see your whole year. And I have my other years over here as well. So that's how that works. And at the top, you'll find a sum of the total values for the week. In this week, it is 120 sets for the third week of August. And it is just a simple sum function. And you can change that if you want to. Now for here, it's the number of hours of focus hours. So this again would be Sunday to Saturday, and then this would be the total. And for reading, I just have a status indicator, X, exclamation mark, and check mark. It looks at your patterns, and the good ones, it puts a check mark. So these conditional formatting you can change, is up to you. For me, if I put a 9 here, I know I get a green. But if I put an 8 here, I get a yellow. Number of sets means I didn't hit my target for the day. Or if I go below, let's say if I put 3, it's still a yellow. So it's yellow or green, a notation up there. And for the number of focus hours, my personal target is 11 hours gets me a green. Anything below that, let's say if I do 7 hours, it gets me a yellow, and below 5 hours is a red. So you can highlight that and change it to whatever your personal targets are. All right, so what do you get for all of this? Well, you get a few graphs. These are the metrics, and I'll scroll down here. So if you do this for a while, what you'll get is 3 graphs that are by quarter. The first is sets by quarter, the number of sets of exercise. The second is reading by quarter, and the third is hours of focus by quarter. This is nice because you can see how your performance was in the past, and you can get to learn patterns that work for you. So for example, over here in Q3 2022 to Q3 2023, I tried working out 7 days a week, which I did successfully for about a year. And then I found I would get symptoms of overtraining. So I decided to back off. And then slowly I found my groove, which was working out every other day. I was able to do that consistently. And then I added volume. And currently, I would say my comfortable spot is about 1,000 sets per quarter, which is close to what it was, but now it's at least sustainable for me. For hours read by quarter, for some reason in Q4 2022, I went ham. I read a lot. Since then, it went down, and slowly I've been bringing it back up, and so on. And you can see over here the hours by quarter. So once you do this consistently, you'll be able to get these numbers by quarter. Now, all you're doing is you're entering 3 values every day when you start your work: the number of sets of exercise, the hours of focus, and the numbers of minutes read. So the input is 3 cells, and the output is all these graphs. So it's complicated. You're just entering 3 things, and you just gotta remember to do it and build the habit of entering these 3 things in. And then this graph is number of focus hours by week, and this is for 2025. And it's broken down into quarters. So from here to here is Q1, from here to here is Q2, from here to here is Q4. So lately, I have been pushing hard on a project, and I can see that I am above my target. So about 70 hours a week, I've been pushing. So that was for the past 4 weeks. Before that, I participated in summer activities, hiking and so forth. So it was a little bit less. But at a glance, I can see how I'm doing throughout the year. And that is the focus by hours chart. Now, at the top, you have a graph that presents you 3 data points in one. So it's like a data dashboard for yourself. So you have the number of sets of exercise in blue. You have the total hours you worked in orange. And then you have the number of hours of reading in gray. And then I have a 2-week moving average for the number of weekly hours that I focused. So that way I don't have to look at the bar graph. I can just look at the dotted line for a trend of how my focus activity is going. And that is your information at the top. And this arrow over here, I move over depending on how I want to use it. If I want to remember something, maybe I'll leave it over there. Now, to the right of that, you also get a scorecard for the year and the totals. So I'll show you what that looks like. So this is my 2025 scorecard. When I update something over here, let's put 6 sets over there, and you can see the total number of workouts increased by 1. And at the top, I have total number of workouts, total study hours, total reading, and then I have average sets per week, average hours per week, and so on. So you get that, and then you get also a scoreboard, which is collectively for all of the years. So in total, since I started this sheet, I have done 6,195 study hours, which is 23% of my goal, which I picked arbitrarily. But if 10,000 hours gets you mastery, then if you triple that, hopefully, even if you have a low probability, you'll still get there. So that's the mentality behind that. The total number of reading, I know reading is important, so this number is very high. I've done 590 hours there, and then workouts completed is going probably the best out of all of them, which is 1,680 workouts. So this scorecard, the way this works is if I double click here, this is getting the number from here. And if I double click here, it will get the number from the 2025 sheet plus what was there in the 2024. And then they just tally up as the years go on and you get a scorecard. So that is how this sheet works. Now, when I give it to you, it will have all of the data because it's some effort for me to clean it all up. So I'm just going to leave it there. But basically, I don't want to break my charts either. So what you can do is you can right click and duplicate, and that will get you a working copy, which you can update, or you can just highlight the data and delete it. But you do have some sample data that you can see how this sheet works and all of that, and then you can play around with it. So basically, when you wake up, you get your to-do list, and from there, I get my numbers from the previous day, and then I type in the 3 things, and then I hit save. And that's it. That's all you got to do. Just 3 things, not complicated. You just have to do it daily, and you will see a massive change as these habits build up and do their magic. Now, where do you get the data? What you could do is when you work, you can take out your phone and you can take a clock app. You can download an extra one just for this purpose. And you can press play and pause every time you're working, and it will calculate a running total. And at the end of the day, you can log that. That's an option. Now, what I personally like to do is I like to use a productivity journal, which is basically a journal with all of your to-do lists. And in one area, you make a table with the log of your focus hours and so on. Now, I like to do it by hand because writing has shown to activate more areas of the brain than anything else. So that's how I recommend it, but it is up to you. So I would say get a journal, and this will be your productivity journal, and create your to-do lists here for the day. Once you do it, you can also input it into your computer to-do list or your phone to-do list or whatever. But start here and then have a dedicated page to tracking. So I'll show you how I do that and how mine looks like right here. Now don't complicate this. Don't use a ruler, just freehand it so it's nice and quick. And I'll show you how to do that. You do that like this. And that's it. That's how you do it. It's very easy. That's how you gamify your progress. Slowly, this becomes your art canvas. And that's how I put on the 40 pounds of muscle. And that's how I upgraded my career from minimum wage to earning more than $17,000 a month take home as a BI-FinTech project management consultant by working on the 3 keystone habits. And those allowed me to achieve what I was after. And I hope this sheet is as fruitful for you as it has been for me.